How's it going, Rack Pack? Rackender here, bringing you another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Road to the King of Games. Today we're going to be tackling a deck that I've actually been working on for a little bit now, and that is Fortune Ladies. As you can probably tell by the title and thumbnails of this video, we're going to be tackling a Fortune Lady deck, and being a big box deck that it is, I'm going to have a budget version for this video that I'll be talking about with you guys. I also have a couple of other ideas for Fortune Ladies once I manage to pick up some more cards for them. I've been grinding as much as I can, as fast as I can. It's just, it's a very time-consuming process. By the time that I finish getting I have one copy of the UR Fortune Lady Calling. By the time I get the other two copies that I really need in order to make the deck the way that it is, there'll probably be a new box out. So we'll figure out how that goes as we'll figure out what to do when that time comes. But for now, we're going to be talking about Fortune Ladies. Real quick, a little update to the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that I've been kind of slacking on the channel. I'm starting to notice that I'm really enjoying a lot of my efforts in doing more other content on my YouTube channel, variety content, mostly Let's Play type stuff. I really enjoy doing that type of content for you guys. Let's Plays are my favorite thing, or one of my favorite types of content on YouTube, especially if the Let's Player is pretty decent. I like to think that I'm doing alright and I'm getting a little better at it, but there's still plenty of room for improvement, and I hope that I can eventually become really good at that. One of my favorite things that I really enjoy media-wise is improv comedy, and I think that I want to try to, and that's what the live nature of a lot of my videos, I like to try and do that way, because it's something that I work on as much as I possibly can. But anyway, the long story short is I've decided, because I've been doing so well with these playthroughs and I've been trying to make them work a lot more, and I've been noticing that I'm enjoying them, I'm going to continue doing these playthroughs of non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content. There's a lot of stuff in the future coming out that I'm really not sure where I'm going to end up in terms of content on my channels right now, because for those of you who don't know, Riot Games just kind of announced a ton of games that I'm really interested in, especially a new card game. So I'll definitely be covering the card game. As Yu-Gi-Oh guys know, I'm a card game person, and I saw some gameplay. It looks pretty solid, so I'm going to be covering that whenever I eventually get into it, or get access to it if I can. And then there's Pokemon coming up, and I want to do a playthrough of that after my Indivisible playthrough. If you want to see some speedruns of Indivisible, I will be doing that as soon as I beat the game, so you can check out my Twitch channel for that. I'll likely also be streaming some of the Riot content as well, so if you enjoy card games, if you like other card games, not just Yu-Gi-Oh, you can check that out as well. Twitch.tv/Rackendar. We have one of my coworkers finally came back from medical leave, so I should be getting more time to stream, which I'm really excited for. So look forward to that next week. Anyway, in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh content, I've decided, instead of doing double daily uploads, which I know is really bad for content on YouTube, as far as I can tell from most of my kind of hearsay from other content creators, I've decided that once a week at the very least, I'm going to be doing a double upload of Yu-Gi-Oh content. That way I can still kind of get the Road to King of Games series going and try to get that finished as fast as I possibly can. So this episode will likely be uploaded alongside an episode of Indivisible, so be sure to, it'd be really nice if you would maybe check that out as well. Indivisible is a really fun action RPG game that I really enjoy, so hopefully maybe you guys will enjoy that too. Anyway, that's enough of the update and such. Let's go ahead and talk about this deck. This is Fortune Ladies. And Fortune Ladies are pretty popular. They're not popular, but they're a top tier deck. I think they just got demoted to tier 3 as of recording this video, because of the Dark Lords are just really strong, and a lot of the other decks are just, there's a lot of really strong decks right now. Dark Lords are kind of dominating the meta. Really curious if they're going to shake some things up. But it's a little more budget friendly than, the standard Fortune Lady stuff, because standard Fortune Ladies, you do want 3 copies of this card. This card is insanely good. And so Fortune Lady Calling is the ultra rare card that I've been pulling for quite some time now. Haven't been able to quite get it. Of course, you do want 3 copies of Fortune Lady Past. This is the tuner for the deck. Really powerful card. Honestly, like the Fortune Lady engine, I've been trying to experiment with in a variety of decks at this point, because Fortune Lady Past is just a pretty solid tuner monster that can kind of get a lot of things out. So I've been looking for, trying my best to experiment with some of them, but not too successful. Mostly because we don't have 3 copies of this. The engine of Fortune Ladies is pretty lackluster if you don't have your 3 Fortune Lady Calling to get things going. So what is the Fortune Ladies? What are we doing? What's going on here? Fortune Ladies are a very interesting level-based deck. All of the Fortune Ladies have this pretty cool effect that every standby phase, their level gets increased by 1. Their attack and defense are equal to a specific, is related to that as well. So some of them are different, I believe. So Fortune Lady Past is their level times 200. Fortune Lady Water is their level times 300, and all of that stuff. So they're highly reliant on their level. So we have Fortune Lady Calling, or Fortune Lady Past. This is this card combined with Fortune Lady Light. Fortune Lady Light and Fortune Lady Past are the 2 combo pieces that you're going to be using, primarily for the engine of this deck. It's not as great as some of the other engines. It's not as splashable because it does require 2 cards, but it is a pretty solid. It is really solid at kind of generating card advantage due to the way that it works. These 2 are the cards you're going to look for whenever you open up. Your opening hand ideally is either Fortune Lady Light, Fortune Lady Past, one or the other, combined with a Fortune Lady Calling. So it is a 2-card combo that you need to do for the Fortune Ladies. That makes it a little bit inconsistent if you're not playing 3 copies of Calling. Well, 4 copies, because we do have Fortune Vision. This card allows you to search any Fortune Lady card from your deck whenever you activate it, and this is a really good card. Fortune Vision is insanely powerful. Kind of understandable why we only have 1 copy of them, because if we had more, this would be probably really like top tier, like insanely powerful. So Fortune Vision is going to give you an opportunity to get 4 copies of Fortune Lady Calling, essentially, because you're going to search your Fortune Lady Calling with this if you open up with this instead. And that's the combo pieces. So the main these 2 cards are going to be used in combo with this in order to summon our main synchro boss monster, Fortune Lady Every. We'll talk about her whenever we finish the combo, because this is one of the more complicated combos that we have to pay real close attention to, because it can be pretty easy to make a mistake. So let's kind of run through it real quick. Fortune Lady Light. Let's say we summon Fortune Lady Light to the field. Normal summon. That is our 1 normal summon for the turn, so we need to be a little careful. And then we activate our Fortune Lady Calling. We did open up the combo. And thus, what we'll do is we'll summon from our deck Fortune Lady Past. With these 2 cards on the field, we're going to activate our skill, Time Passage. I'm sure you've seen this before if you play any bit of ranked. People have been doing this for a while now. This deck's not anything new. For me, it's new because I haven't been able to play it, but I wanted to create a waifu deck, you know, we've been playing a ton of Dark Magician. We gotta throw in some waifu spellcasters in every now and then. So yeah, Time Passage is our skill. We select 1 Fortune Lady on the field, increase its level by 3 until the end of the turn. This is a twice per duel effect. Pretty nice there. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate that on Fortune Lady Past. This will turn her into a level 4 tuner. Afterwards, we activate the Fortune Lady Past's effect. what we can do with that effect is we can banish any number of spellcasters on the field, in our hand, or in our graveyard to increase or decrease the level of one spellcaster on the field. Or I think it's a Fortune Lady on the field. Increase that monsters. Is it any monster? Okay, spellcaster type monsters. So they're pretty spellcaster aligned, which is one of the reasons I've been trying to experiment them with other spellcaster type decks. So yeah, spellcaster monster on the field, you can increase or decrease its level. What we're going to do is we're going to use this, banish the light that we summoned on the field, decrease this level by 1, which will give it to level 3, and then, because light got banished from the field, we can activate its effect, her effect, in order to summon a Fortune Lady Water. Fortune Lady Water will be special summoned. It will give us a draw 2 effect, and then we will be able to Synchro Shokan, or Dark Synchro Shokan, because I don't know if there's like a specific difference. I think it's just an anime thing, because Carly, Dark Sign or Carly's a one of the evil villains of the show or whatever, so instead of a Synchro Shokan, it's a Dark Synchro Shokan. And so yeah, that will give us level 7, because this will be level 3, and Water's level 4, and that gives us level 7 for Fortune Lady Every. Now this combo is a little bit weird, because what you're going to do is you're going to activate this effect, and you're going to select Past, because what it's asking is which monster to change the level of. So you're not going to select this thinking you're going to banish it. You're trying to select Past, and then after that it'll tell you following that selection, it'll then ask you which card to banish. We can then banish Fortune Lady Light, and she will give us her nice effect to summon a Fortune Lady from the deck when banished from the field. So it's a pretty long-winded combo. I hope you guys were able to follow that. You'll see in the gameplay that quite a lot. It's the premier combo of the deck, so you'll see that a lot. And so let's go ahead and talk about the rest. That's the premier combo. We'll talk about Fortune Lady Every here real quick. Fortune Lady Every is one of the strongest synchro monsters I believe in the game right now. If I do say so myself, this card's great. Basically, once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's level by 1. Similar to the rest of the cards, her attack and defense is equal to her level times 400. So level 7 times 4, that's 2800 attack in the right from the get-go. And then every standby phase increases level by 1. This keeps ramping up the Fortune Lady Every into a ton of attack points. I actually use this deck to farm as well, because it's really easy to get your Fortune Lady Every just super strong, especially with what we're doing for the rest of the deck. But the additional effect is, after you increase Fortune Lady Every's level, you're allowed to banish one face-up monster opponent controls, non-targeting. That's the key word right here, a non-targeting banish effect. So no destruction protection, no targeting protection, none of that stuff. You just straight up banish a monster. It is insane. It is only face up, but it's face up. Your opponent has nothing. It is a really powerful effect. And then to top it all off, during your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish a spellcaster monster to special summon this card back to the field. So it has a way of reviving itself during your opponent's end turn. So even if they find a way to remove Every from the field, you'll likely be able to get it back if they don't end the duel during that turn. Or assuming they don't do something else like banish your spellcasters from your graveyard somehow. So really powerful synchro monster. And then to kind of round out the deck, we do have enemy controller. I actually used this to win one of my duels pretty easily. We are running Power of the Guardians because we don't have Fortune Lady Calling, so this is pretty much going to carry us. We actually have a couple of duels. I have a few replays saved. This is going to carry us pretty hard, especially because they're going to constantly keep power boosting. And there's like one duel where we have Fortune Lady Wind just kind of sit on Power of the Guardians. And then the main reasoning is we can put it on our Fortune Lady Past and just have her kind of stack up on defense and hope that our opponent can't get rid of both of these cards somehow. That way we can eventually get to our Synchro Summon. Because otherwise we don't really have any plays. And then we're finishing it off with Powerful Rebirth. This will increase the level of our monster, which is something we have to pay pretty close attention to because, like I said, when we're synchro summoning a lot, we have to pay close attention to the levels that our monsters are going to be at. And so there's a couple of duels where I kind of got a little bit into a problem I had to figure out how to get out of because of Powerful Rebirth, making Fortune Lady Past a little bit too high level for the combo that I want. So we're pretty much just kind of making up for the fact that we don't have 3 copies of Fortune Lady Calling. If we have 3 copies of Calling, we get rid of one of our lights. We get rid of Neo's Fusion, which we'll talk. Neos is in here, yeah. We get rid of Neo's Fusion, and then we probably get rid of, probably throw in some back row or something like that. The Fortune Lady Water Draw 2 is pretty nice as well from Powerful Rebirth. I think we used that effect maybe once in our replays. But essentially, so in order to get this, you do have to have another face-up Fortune Lady, so keep that in mind. But yeah, we're just kind of trying to recycle our resources until we can eventually get out our boss monster, because Fortune Lady Every is our monster of choice. And then we finish it off with a copy of Neos Fusion and Elemental Hero Neos. This is essentially, again, just to stall the duel out. I mean, Neos Fusion's a really good... Brave Neos is a really good card, so like there are times when it's enough to carry us. And Power of the Guardians is a really powerful spell, so that carried us in a couple of duels. But we're essentially looking for Elemental Hero Brave Neos to just kind of stall the duel out, hope our opponent can OTK us so that we can get out our real boss monster in Fortune Lady Every. The rest of the synchros are kind of whatever you would want. We do have Arcanite Magician. I don't think I ever summoned him, so he's not super required. He is really convenient because you can use the spell counters on Power of the Guardians for his effect. So if you get him out really late game, you can just pop your opponent's entire field. Basically, if this card is synchro summoned, place 2 spell counters, gains 1,000 attack for spell counters on it. And then you can remove 1 spell counter from your field and target 1 monster, or 1 card, not monster, just any card on the field that your opponent controls and destroy it. That is pretty insane. It is a infinite, non-once per turn effect. You can do it as long as you have spell counters, you can keep doing it. I believe these 2 are actually in the same box, so you can see the synergy right there. Let's make sure we get the box correct. Dimensions of the Wizards, yeah. So they're both in Dimensions of the Wizards. Arcanite Magician is a ultra rare. Power of the Guardians is a normal card. One of the best normal cards in the entire game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's ever been a normal card as powerful as this one. But yeah, if you're like super late into the game and you have like 4 counters on your Power of the Guardians, that's 4 cards your opponent just straight up loses because you can just destroy all of them. It doesn't matter. You just pop them from the Power of the Guardians. Your whatever monster is equipped with it will lose that attack boost, but it's likely not going to matter because you're just going to wipe the field. So really, really good deck. We also have Star Eater. This comes in the same box as Fortune Ladies, so likely to get this one. I don't think I ever summoned it. It's a level 11, so really hard to do so, but when this card is on the field, if you attack, it becomes unaffected by card effects until the end of the damage step, which is really nice. And then we do finally have Scrap Dragon. This guy actually came in clutch a couple of duels, so I would highly recommend making sure you have at least 1 Scrap Dragon. It's a generic tuner. I actually didn't know that when I was like looking at the box because I thought it required scrap monsters because it's a Scrap Dragon. Turns out it doesn't require any kind of special requirements. It's just literally a generic tuner, or synchro I mean. So definitely pick this up. Basically, once per turn, target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them. And then if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, target 1 non-synchro scrap monster. So I guess if you put it in a scrap deck, it has a nice... it does have a floating effect for your scrap monsters, but for the most part, we don't really care about that. The really nice thing is that if we use Powerful Rebirth and then we Synchro Summon with our monsters, Powerful Rebirth stays on the field. So you have to be pretty careful about how you clog up your back row. And so having a Scrap Dragon just eliminate this useless Powerful Rebirth card is, in order to destroy a card your opponent controls, is pretty nice. So that's the deck. We're just going to exit without saving. We're going to go ahead and I'll show you replays. I believe I have 5. If we do have enough time, I'll maybe throw in like a couple of live duels. But I was getting my dual stamper boards the other day, and I just had some insanely great examples of this deck proving its worth. So the first one is versus Taya Gardner. This one was one of the older ones. I'm not super sure. We'll have to figure out together, learn together what we actually did during this duel. So yeah. Let's go ahead, see. I think I have the super speed on, so let's see make sure we have to turn that off. Okay, we don't. So yeah, this is where we have like Neos Fusion turn 1. I throw in the water, the Fortune Lady water, in case we draw a Powerful Rebirth. That gives us a draw 2 effect. And then we, set the econ pretty standard. My opponent is playing some oh, I remember this duel. I think this is, yeah, this is our opponent playing, they're playing Metaphys. So I'm just going to be completely honest. The entire time I was dueling this person, I had zero idea what was going on. I was just watching my opponent do stuff, and I had no idea what was going on this entire time, so I can't really explain to you what they were doing. All I know is my opponent banished a monster. So this trap card, which is kind of good, if you so what is this? During the end phase, if your other Metaphys card in its owner's position is banished, you can target one. Apparently you could target a card and then banish it, so he manages to target my Brave Neos and banish it. I don't know how he activated the effect. I don't know what the Metaphys do. They're kind of an oddball to me. So here, it looks like we're kind of in a rough spot. But this is where the power of the Guardians carries us really hard. So we summon our Fortune Lady Wind. I don't know if I mentioned the wind effect, but basically you're allowed to destroy any number of spell and trap cards, or not any number, it's actually specific. So when this card is normal summon, destroy a number of spell or trap cards up to the number of Fortune Ladies you control. This has to be that number. So if your opponent has one spell or trap card and you summon this with another Fortune Lady on the field, you won't get to destroy the back row because it does require you to do at least 2. You don't get to choose just 1. So I do summon this, get rid of this back row card because I can't have my opponent constantly banishing my stuff. And then I equip Power of the Guardians with it, and then I kind of do my own, I use my skill here. Because remember, our skill is going to increase the level by 3, and our attack points is related to our level. So I actually used the skill here in order to swing over his monster, and then he starts doing his stuff. Again, I'm kind of lost here. But the power of the Guardians just kind of keeps us in this game. Like, it's pretty much exactly what we need. He plays a field spell, plays a back row card. We get another level, we get some more attack points. I think he lowered our attack. Yeah, I think this card lowered our attack points, so it's whatever. We do have another copy of Fortune Lady Wind. Pretty convenient for us to have this copy of Wind. And this gets rid of both of his cards. So this is pretty nice that he was able to play both of them. If he played only one of them, we would have been a little screwed because we wouldn't have been able to pop any of them. But we do manage to get both of the pop. Use the power of the Guardians, destroy the Powerful Rebirth. If that wasn't a Winged Karibo, I was going to Econ take for game here, because I do have enemy controller. But he did have the Winged Karibo, so he managed to get away from that. I do wait for the Power of the Guardians to activate before I econ into defense mode because I read this card. Yep, I'm not a real Duel Links player. I read the cards. This guy can attack multiple times if he swings into monsters, so I just made sure that he couldn't do that. And then he got banished. I wasn't paying attention. This entire duel was like, what is going on? I'm just playing stuff. We do manage to get our Fortune Lady calling. And this is where we're going to, this is where you're going to have to be a little bit clever with your cards. Because we don't have the easy mode combos, we have the hard mode combos. So I summoned the Fortune Lady Water with our Powerful Rebirth in order to draw 2. Fortune Lady Calling in order to bring out our monster. And what we're going to do here is use Fortune Lady Past's effect, banish one of our wins in the graveyard to increase our Past's level to level 2, and then now we can Synchro Summon for our Every. Remember, we only have like our effect or our skill would have increased it by 3. We would have been in an awkward spot. So thankfully, the Power of the Guardians did help here. We didn't have to banish too many monsters in our graveyard. So now we can Synchro Summon our Dark Synchro Summon Fortune Lady Every. And then we just swing into both of our opponent's monsters, clear the board. And then I think he keeps... I don't know, the Metaphys cards are just being so weird. So yeah, that was one of the examples where we didn't even get our boss monster out, but Power of the Guardians just carried our duel for the entirety of the match. Something that we kind of need to rely on because we don't have the consistency of turn 1 every single duel. So we have another duelist here. This is Belle. I think they're playing Power of the Dark or whatever. This was just, I think, an example of the power that Every has, because I think I drew the combo here, so we can kind of get an idea. Maybe not. Oh, we did. So we have Fortune Lady, or Fortune Vision. This is going to search out Fortune Lady Calling, and then we do have our Fortune Lady Light in our hand. We're going to use that to summon. And so this is also a reason, one of the reasons that our, so we do this, so we select the Fortune Lady Past, and then after we select the Past from the activation, we then are allowed to activate Fortune Lady Light, or choose Fortune Lady Light to banish. And so then we, excuse me, then we start up this chain. Fortune Vision has pretty nice effects. Once per turn, if a card you control is banished, you can activate this effect. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, even if this card leaves the field. And then the other one is if your opponent's your opponent card gets banished, you can make this the battle damage you take this turn becomes 0 for the rest of that turn. That one's not useful, but if you have this card while you're doing this combo, you get that first effect. Now that this effect has resolved, none of our monsters can be destroyed by card effects. Really, really nice. We do get a draw here. We can't activate Neo's Fusion because Fortune Lady Calling does prevent us from being able to summon from the extra deck unless it's a Synchro monster. So you have to keep that in mind if you're playing Fortune Lady Calling. Yeah, Fortune Lady Calling, I think it has to be, yeah, Synchro monsters. I wasn't sure if maybe it was only Fortune Lady monsters, but... So yeah, if you activate this, you can't Fusion Summon, so I wasn't able to get like an OTK with Neo's Fusion, but that's completely fine. We swing into Green Turtle, and our effect of our Fortune Vision immediately goes through, and our opponent cannot destroy our Every. So, and we're also getting a little boost from the field spell. This is just an example of the card. Fortune Lady Every is insane. We just summon Silent Magician. I don't care. I'm banishing it. Non-targeted banishing. And then, yeah, he just surrenders because there's nothing else he can do. This deck is really good. I was really happy that I'm really happy that this deck was working as well as it was, given that I didn't have the extra copies of Fortune Lady Calling. Because this deck could easily have been just really, really bad. But I think Power of the Guardians really helps us here. Allows us to stall out when we need to. So this guy, I believe he's playing Blue Eyes. So this is, we have the combo here, sort of. We have both of these cards. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set. And the reason that I set the Fortune Lady Light is because we're going to use Fortune Lady Light as the banished material. So if we set the Fortune Lady Past with our Powerful Rebirth, we actually would have had a little bit of trouble trying to get the synchro going, because Fortune Lady Past would be summoned from Powerful Rebirth at level 2, and that could be a problem. But since Fortune Lady Light is going to be this monster that we choose to banish, if we do Powerful Rebirth it doesn't matter what level it is, because we're just going to banish it anyway. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. He doesn't do anything, he just kind of sets, and then so we just get our nice little synchro combo going, draw 2 more cards, and then we do have all of our stuff going on here. Our opponent gives us this opportunity, and now I put in every in defense mode because I'm not really sure what he's playing. I have the kind of I'm imagining that he's playing a lot of the pretty staple back row cards like Drowning Mirror Force, so I leave every in defense mode in case he's playing like Wall of Disruption or like any of those cards, and I'm just gonna go in with Neo's Fusion, you know, let Neo's Fusion take care of things. He summons he uses Dragon Spirit of Light in order to banish my back row card. I don't know why my Powerful Rebirth didn't let me go off. Oh, the reason I couldn't summon it was because of Neo's Fusion. I'm not allowed to special summon. I completely forgot. Then he activates for Blue Eyes White Dragon. I was actually really scared because there's the Blue Eyes decks are pretty terrifying whenever it comes to back row, or not back row, but when it comes to playing as Kaiba, because Kaiba now has the ability to get what is it, Dragon Spirit of White? I don't remember what it's called. No, that's Dragon Spirit of White. Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, I think is what it's called. Basically, it has a once per turn destroy one or target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it effect. Really powerful. So I was a little afraid that he was going to do that. I don't know what this card is doing. He's like, target one monster in the other player's graveyard during your next standby phase, special summon it. So he targets my Every, I think. I'm pretty sure he targeted my Every, and it's like, my Every is just going to get summoned. You can't... I'm pretty sure he can't just steal it from my field. It has to be in the graveyard. So I'm not sure if he maybe knew that. I activate Every to banish. And this is where Scrap Dragon comes into play. I used the Brave Neos with another Fortune Lady in order to summon the Scrap Dragon. I set the Powerful Rebirth, and then I just immediately popped the Powerful Rebirth. It turned out it was a Trap Jammer, but just really made sure. Equip Power of the Guardians to Scrap Dragon because Every has her own protection by reviving herself, so don't really need it. Scrap Dragon coming in clutch. We do have one with Ishizu, and then we do have one final one with Taya. I believe the Taya one was a really good example of when we use Scrap Dragon to its really good effect. Or actually, I think it was Ishizu, because she's playing Gravekeepers. Yeah, I remember now. Really, really nice. So yeah, we do get our, opening combo here with Fortune Vision. And we basically play the Fortune Vision combo, search our Fortune Lady Calling, go through the whole shebang. I've described this quite a few times. Many of the other content creators who play this deck also have described it. But it's, eventually this becomes pretty, just kind of muscle memory, right? You just kind of get used to it, just kind of do it. It's the same combo, but it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this deck. I really enjoy this deck a lot. Dark Synchro Shokan. There we go. That's the dark effect going on there. Kind of nice that they actually made a, kind of made it look different to a regular synchro summon. Pretty neat. So yeah, he's playing Gravekeepers, goes into the Gravekeeper stuff. Fortune Lady, I summon Elemental Hero Neos. Powerful Rebirth, set Powerful Rebirth. And then we go into I don't swing in because at this point, I'm winning. And my opponent, I assume, has a Drowning Mirror Force. If I swing into a Drowning Mirror Force at this moment, I am guaranteed, almost guaranteed to lose. I think I have some comeback plays, but it's really not great. So, like, I would be able to manage because I have passed, and I think I would be able to make a powerful rebirth play and do all right. But I didn't want to take that risk. I'm already in the lead. So I just kind of not do it. I don't know what the skill does. Maybe it's a search. So every gets more powerful. And then I, once again, Brave Neos into the Scrap Dragon. So what I do here is I summon the Scrap Dragon, and then I powerful rebirth the water. And my goal here is to hopefully draw into wind. I was trying to draw into Fortune Lady Wind, and the ideal play would be to Scrap Dragon the Fortune Lady Water, pop his face down monster, summon Fortune Lady Wind. Because I do have every on the field, I would be able to pop both of the back row. Unfortunately, that doesn't work, so we use Scrap Dragon to pop one back row, Drowning Mirror Force, just like I predicted, and then we go in for game. At this point, if he has another Drowning, that's just really bad, or feels really bad there. I make a kind of a statistical calculations, like what are the chances that he really opened 2 Drowning Mirror Forces like turn 1? Very, very small. I'm just going to go for the win. Playing around Drowning Mirror Force twice is probably not the best idea. I think I could have played around Drowning twice, but I just went for it there. Easy win. Just play it patiently. If you have that board control, that really strong board setup, there's no reason to, you know, rush or force the play to happen. My opponent was on the backside of things, top deck situations. I had plenty of cards in hand. Definitely didn't expect them to come back with an OTK of any sort, so it was really nice. Here, we set the Fortune Lady Light. Again, the powerful rebirth coming in play here. We powerful. We set the Fortune Lady Light with powerful rebirth. That way we can hopefully get another play going with our Fortune Lady Past. Our opponent does open up with Snipe Hunter. I probably shouldn't have tried to summon my Past back, because I should have just, you know, let it happen, because he's going to destroy the Fortune Lady Light regardless. So I probably should have let that happen, and then he would have been forced to discard another card to Snipe Hunter. And then he does have Power of the Guardians himself, looking to try and sit on top of this Snipe Hunter for the rest of the duel for the most part. We top deck a Neos Fusion, and this is where the Neos Fusion just comes in so clutch. We send in cards that we don't really need. I think we sent a Fortune Lady Past. That way we could potentially powerful rebirth it if we needed. And then we have Brave Neos on the field, and this is just going to kind of stall out the duel for us. He snipes the Brave Neos, doesn't actually hit the snipe. He enemy controllers it into defense. I use Neos Fusion to protect it. And then we just we just top deck enemy controller, and I was thinking about hitting a Scrap Dragon play. I was gonna set the enemy controller Scrap Dragon into destroy the Power of the Guardians, and then finally kill the Snipe Hunter. But I was like, we have the old school enemy controller play. Econ take for game. That's a classic right there. Enemy controller for game is pretty classic. Your opponent summons the crazy strong boss monster that's really difficult to deal with, and you just be like, well, now it's my boss monster, and you have no other cards on your field, so you lose. So yeah, that's the Fortune Lady deck, the budget version that I have created. I was really impressed with how consistent it ended up being, because I wasn't really, like, I was enjoying myself, having fun on the ladder, but I really wasn't expecting it to kind of pop off like it did. Having such a nice diverse set of duels where I'm winning with the power of the Guardians to help make things more consistent, using powerful rebirth plays, using Neos Fusion to stall out duels. Like the ideas that I put into the deck, all of them just came to fruition with like my last 5 duels, and I just had to make a video on it. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I know this is a little bit longer, but I really wanted to just talk about this deck because it's a lot of fun. I will be doing a non-Road to King of Games version of it eventually once I get 3 copies of this. I've been thinking about combining it with spellbooks actually, so I'm really curious to see if that turns out any good. So we'll see how it plays. See how it plays out. I think fortunately the Every combined with Spellbook of Fate could be just an insane board to try and clear, but maybe it's not as consistent as I would hope it could be. But anyway, that's fortunately the Every. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, of course, please leave a like down below. It really helps out the channel. If you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh content, or you're interested in any kind of any of my other playthroughs, I just finished Link's Awakening. I will be playing a lot of Indivisible, the action RPG that just came out recently. I'll be playing Pokemon Sword and Shield when that comes out, and I'll also be doing a lot of the card game by Riot Games when that releases too. So there'll be some more card game content on the channel as well. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can always be notified when new episodes and videos go live. And without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Later!